Every minute of every day, 2 children are being prepared for sexual exploitation. The average age of these children is 14, but many are as young as 3. Child sexual exploitation is a $14 to $16 billion a year business. The top 3 countries involved in these horrific acts are India, Brazil, and sadly the United States. I recently heard of a case where 2 16-year-old girls were rescued after being in captivity since they were both 14 and had been raped multiple times a day until they were rescued just last month. As if this wasn't horrific enough, there was a third girl that was not so fortunate. She was taken by her captors, transported to an Eastern European country where her organs were harvested for resale to the highest bidder on the black market. This occurs on a regular basis and is simply cold-blooded, premeditated murder and needs to be stopped. Crime Stoppers Global Solutions has developed state-of-the-art app technology where citizens can report crimes anywhere in the world anonymously without fear of retribution for criminals. Once an anonymous citizen has submitted a tip utilizing the secure app, that information will immediately be sent to trusted law enforcement detectives for investigation. This simple process gives a voice to citizens, allows them to submit valuable criminal information, and enables all of us to do our part to stop child sex trafficking. Here's how your tax-deductible donation helps in this vital cause. Supports the necessary technology that aids in gathering crucial intelligence on traffickers anywhere in the world. Supports local Crime Stopper Global Solutions programs in developing countries. Creates a reward fund to pay tipsters for key information that leads to an arrest and charges of child sex traffickers. Please give your tax-deductible donation today. You can give a one-time donation or register to give on a monthly basis. You can give $100, $50, $25, or even $5 a month. Every dime of what you pledge will go directly towards saving a child from a life of physical and sexual abuse and possibly murder. Together, we can help stop these types of violent crimes against innocent children. Together, we can make a difference. Remember, every minute of every day, 2 children are being prepared for sexual exploitation. You know what you would do if this was your child. Please, please help us to do the same for those children who have no voice. For more information, go to www.thecsgs.org. Once again, www.thecsgs.org. I'm Jim Fuda, founder and vice chairman of Crime Stoppers Global Solutions. Thank you.
With me today in the interview room of True Blue, the voice of American law enforcement is Jim Fuda, who is the founder of this incredible organization. Jim, thanks so much for joining me here in the interview room.
Thank you for having me and giving me an opportunity to speak about this.
So that video was startling. The statistics that you talked about, the brutality, the coldness of these groups, literally organized crime groups that commit these heinous crimes against children and against women and other people. Tell me, first of all, you're a 33-year police veteran yourself. Let's talk about your police career very briefly, and then we'll talk about what caused you to create this organization.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I did 33 years with the King County Sheriff's Office here in the Seattle area, where I was a beat cop and then went into special operations. You know, I always joked the big boys with toys, and I spent the last 15 years of my career there. From there, I had a 5-day break and went to work as a contractor with the federal government and was in Pakistan, Indonesia, and then Bosnia. It was Bosnia where I learned about the Balkan route and about children, drugs, weapons coming from Southeast Asia through the Middle East, through Turkey, and through the Balkans and into Western Europe. When I was working there as an advisor to the Minister of the Interior in the Republic of Srpska part of Bosnia. Well, my time there was up, came back and started working with the local Crime Stoppers program as one of their directors. And in November of 2016, we started using an app. We started leveraging technology, and we learned right away that our tips had quadrupled and our arrests had more than doubled. And why? We're in the gaming generation. I always joke that I can't get my daughter to talk to me on the telephone, but within 30 seconds, she's texting me back. So
Right.
people are more adaptable now to using their smartphones. And so taking that same concept, I got to thinking, how can this be utilized overseas at the source or the transit routes on those crimes that have no borders? And I picked 7: human trafficking, terrorism, illicit trade, arms dealing, drug smuggling, cybercrime, and bank fraud, all of them corruption based. So I went over and did a beta test, and you need trusted policemen, and you also need a media that's willing to help you. I did one presentation, and the media showed up. I did one, like I said, one presentation for 4 countries and received 47 tips in a week. So these people want to talk; they're just afraid to, for fear of retribution from other criminals or traffickers or what have you. So I could only take this so far operationally, and I soon learned that a local program could not sustain an international program like this. So I brought in think tank members from around the globe, brought in the political side. Dave Reichert, our former sheriff and former congressman, his former chief of staff, a lobbyist in D.C., and a Serb American PhD out of Florida that is well connected in Serbia. So we went to Serbia, moved this forward, and we will be opening our first Crime Stoppers Global Solutions Serbia local program at the end of November.
Okay, I find this fascinating. So you spent your entire adult career as a law enforcement officer in a local environment in King County.
Yes.
Then you get the opportunity to go overseas as a contractor, where you recognize the scope of the problem. Was human trafficking something that you saw firsthand when you were assigned over there?
Here's the issue with the human trafficking, especially human trafficking. It's one of those crimes that the term is they're hidden in plain sight, and it's all around you. But we go about our daily lives and we don't pay attention or look at any of the warning signs or triggers of what's going on around you. You think you see a prostitute on the street, but that's as far as it goes. We don't think that, okay, this person has a pimp, or is somebody holding her passport? Is she of another nationality outside of where her norm would be? All these are triggers of that somebody is being trafficked.
Now you said something that really startled me, and you're saying that the 3 top countries where human trafficking takes place, the United States is one of them.
Yes, and specifically child sex trafficking, which is disgusting.
I mean, this is mind-boggling stuff that you're talking about. And as far as I know, there's never been an international effort like this. So this is something that is brand new. This is just launching. So how are you creating this organization? Because the corruption issue, especially with some law enforcement agencies across the world, this is a serious issue.
Yeah, and especially what is very key here is that the information gleaned has got to go to trusted, vetted police investigators. Because if it doesn't, imagine the information that can come in from anonymous citizens of how that could also be abused. So right. The key is to find those trusted policemen, and we have found that working with a small group we are in Serbia at this point. So I'm very fortunate that we were able to to bring that to fruition, so the mechanics are in place and the logistics are ready to roll. Now it just takes the finishing part of registering the program, the NGO in Serbia, and we're ready to take off.
So you're going to begin this in Serbia, and then where do you plan on taking it after that?
Well, some of that, the next hope is the federal funding will come on, and I'm sure that our government will actually, once the Balkans are come on board, is where we go next. And my guess is, what affects our borders most? Is it Mexico? Is it Southeast Asia for our west coast part of the states? I don't know. It's a new concept. Although there are Crime Stoppers programs, globally, we're in, what I understand, 35 countries, but the concept of transnational crime, those without borders, it has not been tried before.
One of the things that that we hear so often from the President of the United States is about the southern border of the United States being so porous, and the ability of cartel traffickers to not only traffic in narcotics, but also in people. So is this going to be part of the scope of your organization?
Absolutely. And if you look at, basically, most people want to do the right thing, and what stops them? A lot of it is fear. Fear of being discovered that they talked, fear of having to testify. This takes all that out of there. With the app that the secure app that we have, the crime can be reported, and what goes back to them once they hit submit is all they are assigned is a numeric identifier. That's all we know about them. We don't know where they're at, where they're located, and no member, no trafficker, no criminal can ever go back to them. And what's built into the technology is that the investigator can actually communicate back and forth with the anonymous tipster if more information is needed, or if the tipster finds out something else that they want to report. And we're not saying that this is the catch-all. In fact, some of these trusted investigators may already be working a case and have it 80% done, and the rest of this information gives them the other 20% to move forward on an arrest and a charge on somebody.
You brought up something in the video that I found heartbreaking, and that was the little girl who was murdered and her organs harvested. I mean, this is like something out of some weird Hollywood movie, but this is real.
It's definitely real. Yes. What happened in that particular instance, and we heard the stories actually firsthand from the people that had actually rescued. They were two Syrian Christian girls, and they had been sold at age 14, trafficked through the Balkan route into Western Europe, where they had been repeatedly abused daily for 2 years. They got wind of where these girls were at, planned it, and had they been 2 days earlier, they would have got the third girl before she was transported back into the Balkans, where her organs were harvested.
It's heartbreaking stuff. This is an endeavor that I think the American public should really get behind. Now, I know that you are a 501c3, you are a charitable organization. How can people help?
The website, www.thecsgs.org. There's a big donate button on there, and until we can get to the point where we're federally funded and move forward, we need all the help and support we can get. If somebody has a group that they want me to come talk to, please get a hold of me. I'm J Fuda, Fuda, at thecsgs.org. Email me. I'll do all that I can to make myself available to explain this further and get us further down the road.
Well, I really appreciate you taking the time to come on to True Blue, the voice of American law enforcement. Jim Fuda, Crime Stoppers Global Solution. Thanks again for coming on to the show.
Thank you, and thanks for all you do, Randy. I appreciate it.